Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimi Disu. Good morning.
You can watch the show on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch as we are live. Right away, we've got the papers for you this morning. Let's know what you think. Just drop your comment. I'll try as much as possible to take as many comments as possible today, the relevant ones, right? Okay. So we're going to start with the Vanguard newspaper. Page 9 of the Vanguard is where we're starting from. Don't listen to busybodies, bystanders. Tinubu counsels Wike.
Okay, before we go on, I think it's just it's a sad one. We mentioned this gentleman yesterday. For you care, Sheriff, at the time we mentioned his name, he was probably dead. He died yesterday.
That's right. Disu
Tega. And much as I didn't agree with him and I didn't like his tactics, I still had a hidden admiration for him, and I loved watching him talk. He was a very staunch Tinubu supporter until Bawa, that's the guy's name, Bawa, got appointed, and he had said that they were going to show the president in 2027, and unfortunately God had other ideas for him. May his soul rest in peace. That is the way all of us are going to go. That is the way life is. They say man proposes and God disposes. To the APC family, I'm sure they've missed some kind of political, a giant in his own right, to be quite fair. And he was a fierce supporter of President Bola Tinubu. And I wonder, Sheriff, how he felt pained when what's his name was appointed. Well, that the guy they were attacking each other, and all of a sudden they got appointment and he didn't get any. Is that tactics or an oversight? Why do you think he never got an appointment till he died?
I wouldn't know, to be honest.
Yeah. Is it that he wasn't respected, or is it that they thought that whatever function you might give him could have been overzealous? We honestly would never know now. It's very, very sad. There are a few lessons to learn from his trajectory, his life, but these are not things we want to talk about on air. Let's just say may he depart in peace. And I wonder what's going on in the president's mind this morning or yesterday when they would have told him that he had passed on. Would he be a relief?
I don't know.
You don't know anything. Okay. And I think from now on, your initials will be IDK Quadry. Lola IDK Quadry. I don't know Quadry. Right, let's get down to business. I don't know why the president takes his stance. He said same kind of thing to Umahi, and I saying the same to Quadry, saying don't listen to busybodies and bystanders. Who are the busybodies and who are the bystanders? Every citizen of this country is a stakeholder in what goes on in this country and should not be ignored. The signal that the president is giving is dangerous for because if they were to enforce it to the letter, it means that some of these ministers and public officers will completely damn any form of criticism. And that's not good for the polity. That's why it's called a democracy. You must be able to accommodate. I would have thought that President, rather than say this, would be saying, try to accommodate criticisms and take them in good faith and learn one or two things from them. But when you publicly, like you did to Umahi, tell of all people, Wike, that don't listen to busybodies and bystanders, you have given him an open invitation. Where was this said? This was said yesterday, apparently, when the president of the country, went to commission a renovated multi-billion naira building. Let's take these things one by one. This building had been built, I think, in the days of Babangida, so it was just a renovation. And would you believe that for the past about 2 to 3 weeks, most of the front pages of the papers at a very high cost every single day have had some advertisement announcing flag off. What's the other word that they use? Flag off.
Commissioning.
A complete waste of resources, bordering on megalomania. A complete waste of resources, bordering on megalomania. And I wonder how the president doesn't feel awkward about this. Then you have a place that is built, an institution. It already has a name. The man who built it didn't name it after himself, and subsequent governments had kept it. All the current minister did, in all honesty, was to renovate. What is the whole? Is there something wrong with us, with our thinking? This government, I can say boldly, is suffering from some form of megalomania. Every single thing is celebrated, flag off, renovation. In my view, it even defies decency. It's at some point, because I heard Kofi this morning, and I heard some of our listeners call and say, "What's the whole fuss about?" Even if it were a new building, all this idea about commissioning every single thing under the sun, 30 kilometers out of 700, that 30 kilometers now has been reduced to, I think, 20-something kilometers. We end up making, to be honest with you, we may end up sounding ridiculous as a people. We have like a bunch of unserious people. And if we did that without spending money, it wouldn't even be so bad. Look at the kind of money that is put into these things. I tell you, in the last 2 weeks or so, most of the papers have had which good income for the papers. Don't let me spoil their gari. But again, it's offensive. And the last of it all is that the president shouldn't have succumbed to this. The president shouldn't have succumbed to this, and he should have put a phone call through to his former chief of staff, who, when he was in office, to the best of my knowledge, didn't allow anything named after him. Because when you allow these things, what exactly do you think is the message you're sending? Nothing. In case you don't know, you're sending a message of megalomania. I was close to a governor in the Southwest, and I know what happened when he was governor. How many of those things are in existence now with his name? How many? I was there one day. This is not them. I was there one day when they said, Excellency, we've named this market after his name. It's name, he was happy. And I looked at him and said, what has happened to my friend? These are the things that sycophants do when you are in power. If you don't control yourself, they will turn you into a megalomaniac. These things, let me tell the president, mostly would count against him. It will count. You don't name things after yourself. You don't let it happen when you are the man in charge. And it's not as if this is no proof that all people who name all these things after you, it's no proof that they love you. It just, if we are wise enough, it's a curry favoring exercise, just to curry your favor. And I'm sad that the president fell for this. How many things are we going to name after this? In Lagos now, markets, this thing, housing, etc. How many of the added value? Nothing. Nothing. The same people who are clapping hands with you will snigger behind your back. And just name after him so we can keep him happy. And guess what? It is a symptom of something I'd rather not talk about on air. So, Mr. President, please be very careful. Don't give in to this kind of sycophancies. You have a legacy. Whether Jimi Disu likes you, Sheriff doesn't like you or what, you have a legacy that is already written. Whether you even win the next election or not, there's things you have done nobody can erase. I would plead with you not to spoil it with these shenanigans. I beg of you. And I don't think this is going to add more votes to your vote in 2027. If care is not taking, it might even erase some. Well, that's what we had yesterday. And also to the public officers, when the president is urging you on, remember that later if there are any queries, if there are anything left, you will be the one alone to answer these things. A word is enough for the wise. What can I name after? I want to name this microphone after you.
No, there's no need.
We will call it a Quadry mic.
There's no need. I will invent my own mic. I will invent my own microphone.
Sheriff, don't you think this thing is becoming completely ridiculous?
I think it has. It has gotten to a point.
Very offensive.
Yeah, it has gotten to a point where people just casually rename. I mean, most of these things are public property, and there's got to be some level of consideration for the people's sensitivity.
Yes.
When you name public property after somebody, it doesn't matter whether the president is serving or not serving. You've got to have solid enough, good enough reasons to be able to name public property after somebody.
More so rename.
Exactly.
If it's even worse that you're renaming. And the president also has to be careful. He has committed some quote and unquote offenses that people have overlooked. Waking up one morning and changing the national anthem. Nobody challenged his powers to do so. We have to be very careful. Those of us who are students of history, we've seen things like that happen in the past. And so there are some of these signals, we are watching them, where at official functions, rather than sing even this new anthem or whatever it is, you are singing songs like on his mandate we shall stand. These are reflections of something very unpleasant that I don't want to talk about this morning. So we need to be on our guard.
Naming and renaming of roads, buildings, and other monuments doesn't make you more popular.
Doesn't.
I mean, people don't even. There are some new names that people don't even remember. They still refer to those places, the old names, and
all the. Do you know?
It doesn't make anything.
During the days of Gawan, for example, some sycophants named Broad Street, Yakubu Gawan, whatever.
You see.
Who remains?
You see.
The fourth mainland bridge or the third mainland bridge that they call the IBB bridge.
Uh-huh.
People stick to third mainland bridge.
It's
Abacha named. I can't even remember how many of those things Abacha were named after Abacha. Where are they now? Mm-hmm. Because what it does is that it doesn't. Maybe your even your supporters out of sycophancy will say it's the best thing that happened since powdered milk. But deep within them, they'll be saying, I'm sure they'll be saying that what is all this? You better bring some other things. Let's name so that this man can be happy. It's a symptom of something that is not pleasant in leadership. And like I said, the chief of staff to this gentleman in his own time, to the best of my knowledge, didn't allow anything named. The things that are named after him were after he had left government as a mark of honor. It's like you being a vice chancellor and you give yourself an honorary degree, which one or two proprietors of our local universities, private universities have done. How can you give yourself No, don't let me crack this joke. Let me just leave that. I'll leave it for another day. Let's go
to our next story. It's on page 6 of Vanguard newspaper. Son gives reason behind quick burial of Mike Ejeagha.
It was all of you. Most of you should know Mike Ejeagha. If you don't know him, you know his song that came popular when he was in his 90s. I don't know when he composed that song.
Yes.
It's an old song, but you see, God has his plans for people. If even in the 99th hour, you could be honored for things you have done, or you could be called to account for things you have done, either which way. But the son says that he couldn't. They didn't want to waste any time because the gentleman had said that he wished to be buried within 24 hours. It reminds me of my big brother, Mr. Alakija, who said he wanted to be buried before any announcement was made.
Ooh.
Yes. He said he had made all the arrangements, the spot where he would be buried and so on and so on, and said, I want to be buried before any announcement is made. When you look at serious minds like that, because what do you call a befitting burial? Sometimes it could be a waste of good money. But what value is it to bury somebody in a gold casket and this and that, horse carriage? Like there was some Top Gun in Nigeria recently who imported the hearse that was used to carry his body. What value does that add? Her attitude to life is very funny. So I respect him, and he said that, what are you thinking, that I would want to be buried in 24 hours? No, they should wait small in case I wake up. So it said here that his wish to be laid within 24 hours, which was done in his hometown, and that the gentleman said he quickly contacted the governor, and the governor agreed. And but later they'll have some kind of celebration in his name. His soul rest in peace. He was born in April 1930. He was a Nigerian folklorist, songwriter, and musician. And, of course, all of you know the popular go, go, go. I wonder what that means.
I don't know.
I know there's a part of the ram that they call the go, 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 which I ate on Saturday by the throat. Some part of the throat, you roast it with pepper. But I don't know what to go, 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 go. Can you do the dance?
No, I can't.
You want me to do it for you?
Yes.
The people won't see.
Today, please bring up the camera. Take it up a little. Let's see dance step. Let's see Baba's dance step.
I have a kind of pain in my right leg.
He's so rest in peace.
He's so rest in peace.
Right. And I think we also need to give a very big shout to what's the name of this boy?
Oh, the guy who brought his music to the limelight. Yes, we need to give it to him. I don't know his name, but one, for actually acknowledging, because a lot of these so-called Afrobeat musicians are taking riffs from Fela's music and not acknowledging. The same thing for Davido. I need to thank him most sincerely for what he's doing with Bright Chimezie. You always know well-brought-up people when you see them from their behavior. I like what he did with Bright Chimezie. He honored him while he was alive. This other guy that you can't remember his name.
It's Brain Jotter.
Is that his name?
Yes.
He even took him money, did everything. Publicly acknowledged that this is where I got the inspiration from. I wish we were more like that in our behavior. But quite a lot of, that's why I have no respect for them. They take one riff, one guitar, one guitar string, they take it from Fela's music and say they've composed. That's not composition. Second base, Jerry.
Second base.
What did you say his name is again?
Brain Jotter.
Brain Jotter. Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Brain Jotter.
Let's go to the Daily Trust. There's a story on the front page. June 12, protest against hardship, insecurity to hold in 20 states. Organizers.
Well, here we go again. The paper, the trust is full of all the arrangements. If you want to know what's going to happen, it's in the. I can't read all, but it says protest against hardship insecurity to hold in 20 states. You talk about Yola, Adamawa, Borno, 20 states really. It also talks about tight security in Lagos, Ogun, and Niger. The report talks about previous protests, group moves against hardship insecurity. Lagos CP organizers meeting stalled. Don't attack protesters. Urua cautions police. We are unaware of planned protests. Ogun Adamawa police commands. And we are going to have in fact, there's an advert here that says organize and join June 12. Democracy Day nationwide. I think civil society needs to design another form of protest. This new protest about hitting the streets for 1-2 hours occasionally and carrying placards we've been beaten at that game. Okay, the politicians know what it is. You come out. In some states, they will be the ones to come out. You won't know, and they will be the ones to say it's all over now. I think protesters need to almost wanted to say we, but not real. But the civil society needs to go back to the drawing board and prepare a well-drawn form of protest that might not even be physical. There are various ways by which protests can be organized and make the political class uncomfortable, because you must not make them comfortable. And it can be done without violence, without even physical interaction. But we've retired from these things, you know. But we need to design other forms of protest. Unfortunately, I don't think Nigerians have I don't want to use the word discipline. I don't think we have the wherewithal to see all those things through. But hunger will soon push us to it. I guarantee you.
We're not hungry. We're not hungry.
We're not hungry. By the time the hunger gets to a particular point, it will be spontaneous, and that could be dangerous. So the political class have to up their ante, and don't let things get to the point I'm thinking of. You don't have to hit the streets every time. They're well prepared. Signal has gone to all the police people. The civil societies and groups have been heavily infiltrated. Labor would have been infiltrated. Money will be exchanging hands and favors and so on and so forth. In fact, if you are not careful, it's the pro-government forces that will take care, that will be in charge of all these things. They put up a show 1-2 hours and that's it. Over and done with. There has to be another way by which we can hold the political class to accountability. But we are not ready to do that yet. When hunger bites deeper, nobody knew we'll get to where we are today. Nobody knew that we'll get to where we are today. It looked far-fetched about 5 years ago, because it's not a case of Tinubu's government or whatever. It's been on. It's been on. Year after year after year. Unfortunately, during the military government, the focus was democracy, and everybody thought that once we have democracy, our problems are half solved. How naive we were! When we have democracy, our problems doubled. It doubled. The kind of things you're hearing now, you wouldn't have heard of in a military setting. The kind of money. Do you think, for example, during the military government, you see a minister brazenly driving? Sorry, I keep repeating it. Brazenly driving a Rolls Royce. And by the way, talking about cars and so on and so forth, somebody should please design a protocol for our public officers. It's embarrassing to see a public officer at a particular level wearing something that is worn in winter in Europe, in this hot sun, at a public event. These little things matter. If I were president, I would have a protocol watcher, SSA protocol, versed in protocol and etiquette, okay, whose job would be to look out for the various infractions of etiquette and protocols and so on and so on, which would include dressing. I mean, we must have been a laughingstock at this recent event where I saw somebody wearing something that looked like a winter coat. What's wrong with us? If you want to laugh, you can laugh.
I would say it's a lifelong dream.
Sorry?
It's somebody's dream to wear that.
Oh, dear me. We have a long way to go, Sheriff.
Yes, we do. We do. Let's take this next story. Nigeria grappling with 150,000 sickle cell cases annually, says Harvard's director Achebe.
If you had ever had somebody, I had a very close childhood friend of blessed memory, and of course I had cousins who were sicklers. What is sad about, anybody now, say the ages of 40 below, let's say 40 below, being a sickler, is that it could have been prevented. The first love of my life, if I have an example, I will use it anytime I'm talking about these things. The only reason why I did not marry the lady in question was because we were both carriers. It was the only reason. And I give credit to the late Dr. Tosin Ajayi, who called me one day and said, "Did you come alone?" I said, "Yes." I was a young boy, very much in love. He called, as you can said, and he pressed his bell, and the nurse strolled up and said, "Bleed him." I thought they were going to kill me. He said, no, they were taking my blood. They took my blood. He said, do you know your genotype? I said, no. And then once he told me and I saw what it was, a decision had to be taken, and I have no regrets, even though it was very painful. I'm giving you my own example for you to know, because sometimes when we say these things, it looks far-fetched. It is highly criminal and is a sin for people who know that they are carriers. In fact, it is criminal and it is a sin, and I think it should be criminalized if two people present themselves for marriage and they are both carriers. Because it's a disaster waiting to happen. It's also sad that as we speak, we don't seem to have found a solution to this sickle cell problem that we have. I think Thursday is sickle cell day also. Thursday is okay, fair enough. So it's sad, and we like to, and it's generally, I hear, I could be wrong, I'm not a medical person, I hear it's an African problem. It's a black man's problem. So we have to find that solution. Ironically, the solution might even be found in a local medical whatever. So this story says that Nigerians are grappling with 150,000, and don't forget, these 150,000 are probably the ones in the urban areas. There will be loads of them in the rural areas that won't even know that they are dealing with sickle cell whatever. But we thank God for the advocacy that has been going on, and we call on people. Some churches, I think the Catholics, for example, always insist before you get married, you must produce your genotype. All of you know about AS and AA and all these things. So let's try and prevent these things, okay?
Yes, let's try and do that. We must go now.
Yes.
Well, you're back at 9 for Diabumi.
It's Diabumi today. It's going to go sweet. It will be sweet. Go to YouTube at 9 o'clock.
Lagos, that's our show. Thank you all for being a part of it. Don't go anywhere, because Kofi is making a return for the last 1 hour of the show. Do stay with us here on Nigeria Info 99.3.
Oh, what did they happen now? No bonus for all my line.
No panic, as MTN don't carry better gist come.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.